My, how the tables have turned. This couple reached out and asked me about how I got started. Now, you guys have seen the monster here on the far end. You've seen Bruce twice, 1994 video and 1992, but he also won it in 93. We don't have his video yet. 93, we're efforting, as they say in media, to get that. And of course, his better half, if he was a professional wrestler, this would be Macho Man Bruce Stepp and Miss Elizabeth. But go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Amanda, or Myndiee, and this is my husband, Bruce. I got roped into all of this because of his name. Apparently, he's a legend, and I did not know. And Alex had reached out to us, said, hey, come and do these interviews, And I said, why? Why do you do this? And he said, well, everybody's got a story to tell. And I said, what's your story? Has anybody ever asked you about, what you do and how you got started in all of this? And so he's like, no, not really. And I said, well, let's use this platform to tell all about you, because you are the one that is making all of this happen. And it's so exciting for us to be able to see these videos for the first time and relive one of the greatest moments of our partners' lives and stuff. So I thought, you know what, why not? Let's ask Alex, how did wrestling even come about for you? How did you get started in all this?
Well, let's go back in the Wayback Machine. I grew up, I was born in 1985, and I got, growing up, the biggest thing was professional wrestling. We had the larger-than-life characters. Saturday morning had all the action figures, the rings, all that kind of stuff. But I was more, looking back on it, I was more entertained as, watching the guys do their promos, watching the wrestlers, I'm coming to kick your rear end, all this kind of stuff. I didn't really care about what was going on in the ring. So when I got my own, wrestling figures, as 4, 5, 6-year-old, I had a younger sister, but, she was born when I was 6, and all the boys in my neighborhood was always older. So I had my, wrestling ring, my action figures and all that kind of stuff. So I would sit and practice talking to each other and, doing promos back and forth to each other like they do. And I got the most enjoyment out of that as a youngster, because nobody told me it had to be this way. Nobody told me, this guy couldn't be, because he's a bad guy on TV doesn't mean he couldn't be a good guy to me or whatever. So I can go back and credit a lot of my creativeness as, like, my logo is the G.I. Joe logo. I grew up watching G.I. Joe. I've always had, a soft spot for the G.I. Joe, all the little action figures and all that, and I guess the creative freedom, the poetic license, when you're a kid in your bedroom with your toys, it's your own little world, right? Yes. And that's, like I said, almost all my creative freedom come from that, because it was just me, some molded pieces of plastic, and my imagination. I got into high school, and we really didn't have like a middle school program like they do now. It was just, if you wanted to wrestle, you showed up on the mats and I started as a freshman. Wasn't very good. I'm going to tell you, I wasn't very good. My first year, I went 5-12, won 5 matches, lost 12. 5 of the wins was to the same kid twice in one day. So I thought I was tearing it up. But started wrestling my sophomore year. Hurt my ribs, hurt my back. Didn't finish. Life took me in a different direction. I was a student trainer for our high school. The trainer for the high school was my neighbor. Literally, I cut his grass for 17 years, so we lived right beside each other, and I thought I had a career in sports medicine. Turns out I didn't, and I was actually I'd come to watch a high school meet the year after I graduated. I graduated in 03. Hard to believe I've been out of school 20 years. Doesn't feel that all you 2023 kids, you can't, this is impossible that you all are 20 years removed. I went to a wrestling meet in November. I went with my buddy, the trainer Joe, went over there, and they had to get a ref from like Louisville to drive in because there was nobody on this side of the state. And I was like, no, wait a second. I can do this. Why can't I, what's the deal here? So I made a few phone calls, find out you had to do, back then the KHSAA mailed you your test. I took my test, I passed it, started officiating. Coaches ate me alive. Love Jim Matney, but he ate me for lunch. His first.
Now, how old were you?
I was 18.
Okay.
I was 18 when I started. My birthday's in January, so I don't remember exactly like my first meet, but it was at 18. It was the school year 03, 04, I would have been either 18 or 19.
Okay.
And I'm 38 now. So I done that, refereed. I wasn't very, I'm not saying good, but I didn't have nobody to learn from. And we'd go to meets and I'd ask refs, and some of them would be real, I guess, arrogant or conceited that I should know this. Coaches, same thing, it wouldn't help you. And it really kind of burned me that, somebody wanting to help, somebody wanting to grow the sport was reaching out to senior people involved, and they would, dismiss you as not on their level, don't talk to me unless you've got 10 years in, that kind of stuff. And that's how the high school wrestling rule video series on the YouTube channel started. I was like, daggone it, I'm good at this, I know I can do it, I'm going to do it. And watching my first couple videos back was just, oh my gosh, god awful. Having to use my phone, which if that's how you got to start using your phone, if you're an aspiring YouTuber, do what you got to do. Get yourself out there. But my first 2 seasons was with my phone. I was able to make a purchase and get a better camera. But to answer how I started with the I know that was a long answer for this, but I've been in wrestling all this time. I started wrestling in 1999, and Coach Jim Matney passed away in 2021, September. Mm-hmm. And you go into all these gyms, I probably say of the 280 plus schools that the KHSAA has member-wise, I've probably been to 180, 190 schools. You walk in, if a school has wrestling, maybe they have a couple banners, maybe they have something in their trophy case or whatever. And wrestling is always the redheaded stepchild. No offense to redheaded stepchildren, but they're always the lowest on the totem pole. They're always the sport that gets overlooked. And it's not going to get overlooked if I'm involved. I mean, that's the way I feel about it. Coach Matney has that speech. He made it in a lot. I'm sure there's 1,000 of Coach Matney's speeches that we could put on here, but the one that the guy from WYMT filmed, we are who we are. We're boys from the mountains, from the hollers, from the small towns. Don't you let anybody come in here, especially from a big city, be able to walk out of here thinking they're better people than you are. And that speech, it was to the football team, but that speech spoke to so many people from Eastern Kentucky that live in Eastern Kentucky, whether you knew Coach Matney or not, because, I mean, let's face it, Eastern Kentucky gets crapped on by a whole lot of people. I knew I could do this. I knew I was successful with the rule series, and I knew that I could do something to this effect. And we were at Coach Matney's funeral on that Sunday. There in the gym, done the walkthrough visitation. Josh Muncie, head coach at Sheldon Clark, come up. I was like, Coach, I think you were there, mm-hmm. And I think Joey was there, and a couple other. I think one of the Rhodes brothers may have been there. And I was like, man, it's a shame that I've never saw Bruce Stepp wrestle. It's a shame that I've never got to see Archie Stepp wrestle, Chris Goss wrestle. Why is that? This is not right. This is not the way it should be. And I knew that Josh's video, Josh and Dan, a couple other guys, their videos, their state championship videos were on YouTube. And I went to Josh and said, hey, man, listen, when wrestling season starts, you'll get together after a practice, after a meet, before a meet, something, and I'd like to do a review with you about your state championship because he has a son now that wrestles. Your kids can watch it. Your wrestlers can watch it. What do you think? And he's like, I'm in. And I knew when we were filming it, I was like, we've hit a platinum mine. We've shot Texas T. We're like the Clampets, oil's coming up that we had struck something, and man, I took an idea and I ran with it. I took an idea and I gave it, it lived in here, and I love being able to bring it out to this. You guys coming, 165 state champions represented, the most outstanding wrestler video, all stuff we've been able to do is, it all started as an idea. And I hearken it back to a little kid playing in their bedroom with wrestling figures, using your imagination for that. Now, being 38 years old, all these years later, being able to do it in real life, being able to let you guys tell your stories, being able to let people that you have in your life now see you in that light that they missed out on for whatever reason. I know that's a long-winded answer, but that's how I got to where I'm at now. So,
notice you said in our last video when you was interviewing me that there was I forget how many wrestling champs that,
770 total, and we've got 165 represented now on the channel.
okay. And how do you research that? How do you actually lay that out and figure out how to get the video, how to set it up with the individual that was in the championship match? How has all that come about?
I don't think that this would have been as successful as it is had social media not existed.
Okay.
When I done Josh's video, Josh Munsie's video, I put it out, and it started getting all the views, the shares, the likes. People were reaching out, and Joey Stepp was the first one to reach out to me. You guys need to go watch Joey's video. Joey's in the finals 1999. Joey played football at Marshall. All-American, I think, at Marshall. He's in one of the ESPN top 100 clips of the last 100 years, carrying Byron Leftwich down the field after Byron breaks his leg.
Beast of a man.
Oh, yeah. And Joey reached out, and he was like, man, listen, I'm Joey Stepp. I knew who Joey was, but he's like, I'm Joey Stepp. I was in the finals in 99. I watched Josh Munsie's video. Do you happen to have the 99 finals? And at the time, I didn't. He's like, I was in the finals. I got beat on the last-second stalling call. I've never watched it. I get sick thinking about it. I was like, all right, let me see what I can do. And I got a few people at the KHSAA I know I can kind of talk to a little bit. And they said, hey, everything is at this archive at this university. I called them. They sent me a list of what they had. Initially, it was like 17 of the 59 years. There's 59 state tournaments so far. It was like 17 years. And I was like, whatever you have, I'm buying today. Send me the invoice. I will drive you the money myself. I PayPal'd it. But I was like, I want everything that you have. And they sent it to me. I started with, like, your 94 video was in there. A couple of, 94, 95, 96, a couple of 2000s, 1969, some of the 80s.
Wow.
And I put that list out of what I had. It went, we done Josh Muncie, Dan Muncie, we done Matt Horn from Johnson, Josh Stepp, then we done you and George King right back to back. And whenever George, of course, Union County's a dynasty. They've 14-team state champions, 72 individual state champions now. George is such a personality. He's one step away from being like a multi-million-dollar YouTube influencer. If the right person got a hold of him, George King has that personality. He could be a sensation on social media. He already is, but he could really be phenomenal, just his personality. With him, the people that remember him, you, right back to back, and it was just like, the floodgates opened. Oh my gosh, do you have this year? Do you have that year? So I started, Google's made the world smaller. Facebook, Instagram, all these social medias have made YouTube has made the world smaller. And I think I reached out to you through somebody. I got your contact. I think it may have been Ryan Smith. I think Brance's dad was like, hey, if you know Bruce, man, I'm going to send him a friend request. Tell him not to delete it. Tell him not to ignore it. Because I know just some random guy send you, a friend request, probably, kind of odd. And from there, we've been able to set up 3 times going to Hopkinsville, Woodford County. We've been to Connor twice. I've got several other schools set up that are just, setting up 10 to 15 guys at a time. Like when we done Connor High School the first time, there was a guy that flew in from Texas to be on the video.
Wow.
1979 teen state champion. He flew in from Texas that morning. He was flying back out that evening. Had a guy from North Carolina, Alex Ray, drive in for a video. Drove to Louisville. Chris Zenner drove from Washington, D.C. to do his video. Sean Smith drove from Arkansas. Miguel drove from Georgia, just south of Atlanta, to do his. So we've had guys from all over the place. You from Ohio twice to do it. And I can't say thank you enough to the guys making the effort to come here, because you guys coming is proof that you believe in what I'm doing. You believe in what the stories we're able to tell, and you believe that this is the right format for or the right platform, if you will, for the memorial videos that we've done. Richard Brown, we've done a memorial video for Stick Rod from Connor, 4-time state champion from Connor, Robbie Clarkson, Brad Stafford from Sheldon Clark passed away. Just unbelievable tragic accident where Brad passed away. Just all these memorial videos we've been able to do, on top of telling the stories of you guys that are still with us, still have family, and still are able to do it, is just I mean, I don't know if thank you is a big enough word. I don't know if grateful is a big enough word. But the more that we get out, the more that we do it, the more people from other parts of the state want to be involved. This is not just the Eastern Kentucky series. This is not just the Alex Green series. This is the entire state. Everybody gets to enjoy it. And that's so much, what I take so much pride in, is whether you're, like I said, from Fulton County all the way up, we're almost in a place called Phelps. You can't go any farther. Fulton to Phelps is the farthest trip you'll ever make in Kentucky. We're close to there. But from everywhere in between, all 120 counties, this is our series. We're the only series on YouTube that is doing what we're doing, the only sport that is doing what we're doing, the only state doing what we're doing. Are there other reviews out there? Of course, but it's not as in-depth. The history isn't there. The amount of state champions, whether it's an individual sport or team sport, isn't there. And it's all because of people making the effort to want to be a part of it.
You had mentioned a little bit ago that this idea all came to you at Coach Matney's funeral.
Yep.
I remember being there, and I remember them asking if he had ever coached you in ever stand up. And I remember over half of the gymnasium stood up, and I was just like, who is this man? Have you ever thought about expanding this series to cover coaches or somebody who has inspired and done such a great job in bringing up the youth, especially in a sport? And he just didn't do football. I'm sorry, he did football as well, correct?
Yeah, he done quite a few sports, but wrestling specifically, you've got so many fantastic coaches out there that have invested so much in our youth and have sent so many of these championship wrestlers out, that the state of Kentucky has so much history that a lot of people just don't know about. And it comes from our coaching staff. And not only our coaching staff, but from their wives. I mean, you look at Coach Matney, and me personally, I can look at his wife and say that she was just as much as part of that team as anybody.
I remember once you telling me that about her, shortly after I'd met her, you had told me that you remember being packed in the van or in the car with like 9 wrestlers in the car while she was transporting you to get to a meet.
Yeah, we had some very unique ways of getting people from point A to point B.
I believe that.
But, the fact of the matter is there is such a tremendous amount of history that our coaching staff have placed out there. Is that a platform that you even thought about creating?
With the coaches, if they are, like, if say we go to a school, I know like at Connor, legendary coach Wayne Bedita, he was there both times, and there was one video or 2 memorial videos that he done, one for Kelly Stickrod, who's passed away, and Robbie Clarkson, who passed away. He was involved in both those, but he was there. He started the program there in 72, I believe, and he retired a couple years ago. So all those wrestlers come through. One of his state champions on the series already, Matt Shotwell, 2-time state champion. Matt went on to be a cardiologist.
Okay.
And Matt Shotwell is now Coach Bedita's cardiologist. So, and Matt's a phenomenal guy. There has been, we've done this video with Coach Carr from Woodford County and Coach Parks. We've done them. Any coaches that are able to make it to one of our, whether it's one video or a marathon series, they are more than welcome to sit with me, sit behind me, be off camera making faces at their wrestlers all these years later. I mean, they are more than welcome, and I welcome them to come because, I mean, a wrestler just doesn't become a state champion on their own.
No.
I mean, you got to have that molding. And at Connor, it's called the Wayne Bedita Wrestling Room or Wayne Bedita Mat Room. It's got like a really nice wooden plaque of him. He always wore like a tie, and the wood engraving has him. He wore glasses and a tie, and the wood engraving has his haircut, glasses and a tie. It's just so perfect for him. And let's see, we've done Coach Bedita, Coach Parks and Coach Carr. We've done Coach Harris from Hopkinsville. We've done several, Coach Muncie, some of his kids, Branson. And, any coaches that are willing or, there, be more than happy to have them sit in and give, Coach, did you teach your kid to reach back like that? I don't know if that's in the move repertoire or you teach them the move where they lay on their back and look up, make sure the lights are working in the gym. But yeah, the coaching aspect, man, anytime a coach wants to be on the series or involved, I'm all for it.
And we've got a lot of legends out there.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to the coach world, Jim Matney was one of them. You've got Coach Carr from Woodford County.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And there's quite a few other ones, but there's a lot of history that they have coming up in the sport that people just don't know. And I think if you can ever get into any of their minds, that is a great tap of resources right there.
Every time I'm around Coach Carr now, and one of his son JoJo was a four-timer, 93, 95, 97, and every time I'm around Coach Carr, one of his former Woodford County guys, he'd be like, I don't know why you put that video of my kid on there reaching back. I told him, I got him on Facebook. I sent him a message. I told you in 1996, don't reach back. And what'd you do? You reached back. you just got to know Coach Carr, his personality.
That's hilarious.
And no, that's happened. There's been several former wrestlers, they'll get together or message each other on Facebook or whatever. Like, hey, man, that was a really nice shot you made there in 87. Way to get, your head left out. I mean, just... You know how guys are when they get together or see their buddies wrestling and all that kind of stuff. But the camaraderie that is still there, the friendships, even though after we graduate high school we go on about our life, just because you're graduated and you're no longer a part of the team doesn't mean that mindset leaves you. Doesn't mean that you don't still feel connected to what's going on in the sport, in the school, whatever the case may be. And a lot of one in particular, we done a video at Hopkinsville, one of our marathon sessions, Hopkinsville, a guy named John Poindexter. He was in the finals twice. He was from Hopkinsville, from Fort Campbell. They're in the same county. They wrestled each other 11 times throughout their career. John was a senior. In the 1987 state finals, the guy he'd wrestled, he'd be 11 times beating. And we were doing the video there, and I was like, we were sitting there talking. He's like, yeah, me and my brother wrestled. We done this, we done that. I was like, all right, man, let's put it on. He's like, I don't want to watch it. I don't need to see it. Everybody's like, John, man, put it on. It's like, nope. He gets up and he walks off the set there, and everybody's like, John, man, we're gonna watch that video. He's like, I ain't watching it. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. And little things, being able to pick at each other all these years later, and people don't understand. I've said it in other memorial videos. People don't understand just how important high school athletics are to kids in school and how they are going to. I'm not saying you can't just look at somebody and say, okay, this person was a dud on the wrestling mat, they're going to be a dud in life. But if you have, whether you win any matches or not, if you have the right molding, the right coaching, when you leave, chances are you're going to be successful. You may not be Bill Gates, you may not be Elon Musk or some of these billionaires, but chances are you're going to raise a good family. You're going to raise a productive family. You're going to give back to your community. You're going to be a good husband, good wife, whatever it is, because of what you learned playing sports.
Definitely going to have better tools facing life than what you will without it.
And there was, there's been several new teams start up, and a couple of them that I know, their moms or dads or grandparents or whatever. And talking to them, I was like, man, the biggest thing about wrestling that kids don't understand is, you are wrestling somebody else. That's the whole point. That's why it's called wrestling. You're out there competing against somebody else. But it is what you learned about you. Am I going to roll over and quit when it gets hard?
Right.
Am I going to go to my back if the person's running a half too hard? I don't want to fight this. You're probably going to go to your back the rest of your life. You're probably not going to fight out of it. Since high school, I've competed in 2 jiu-jitsu tournaments. One in Cincinnati, one in Huntington, West Virginia. I won the one in Cincinnati. The one in Charleston. One was NAGA, one was the Abu Dhabi Combat Club. The one in Charleston, it was what's called absolute, where all the weights are together in a certain class. Won my first match. I didn't realize it was absolute, and I had to go up against. I was like, you know what, I'm not even, I've won the match I needed to win. I was the absolute, you guys can have it. I've proved to myself all these years of being out, I've still got it. Take it. Y'all can do with it what you will. Still got like a bronze or silver medal for that. But the competing out, and I was 30 at Naga, and I was 32 for the Abu Dhabi Combat Club, and the videos are on the YouTube channel. And it was fun to get back out there, you know, doing this for all these years. Get back out there, had to cut a little bit of weight. It was weird cutting weight to get back down. You know, I've wrestled, competed at 135 weight class, but it never leaves you.
Yeah.
The wrestling, aspect never leaves you.
So doing this series, since you started it, what, this year, last year?
January 2022 is when we started.
Okay, so it's been 1 year since you started the series. What have you, what value have you taken from this?
When I started it, and it was my own, I don't want to say narrow-mindedness because that's not the right word, but I just didn't see how big it could get. I didn't see Hopkinsville bringing me out 3 times. I didn't see, all these other schools wanting me to be involved. I was wanting to do it basically for like the Sheldon Clark, Martin County guys, Johnson guys, our buddy Nick Chafin at Prestonsburg, just like a local area type series. And then when I contacted George King actually drove in from Indianapolis that morning to Lexington to do his video. And Union County's the other end of the state, and Union County, like I said, is a dynasty. We done his. And that kind of made us, I guess, international. Going out in the central time zone to me is international. So we done George's, and then other schools started reaching out. Other people started reaching out. Like I said, all my contact information is on the YouTube channel, Facebook, all that. People started reaching out. Made a lot of friends. Reconnected with a lot of people that I just had met over the years, but I guess before social media really got popular. But like when you sit with a family and they're watching their son who has passed away wrestle, like with Michael Jackson from Woodford County. We done his memorial video. Michael was, I think he was 21. He died in a car accident, just an absolute freak accident. His parents were there, Coach Carr, Coach Parks were there. And, his parents got emotional, coaches got emotional watching the video. With Richard Brown the same way. Just all these memorial videos that we've been able to do. And just giving them, because the people that we met with so far didn't have any video of their, like they may have like highlights, but as far as like what we're doing, like the state finals, they didn't have it. And that's the whole point of wrestling, is make it to the state finals, is to win it. You're not, nobody breaks it down. Okay, 1, 2, 3, third place, or 1, 2, 3, consolation rounds. It's one, state champs or whatever it is. So the meeting with people and just telling stories, that every video that we've done, if I'm not happy with something, like a word, or I'll cut it out. Or if I'm looking off camera or somebody comes in, I'll cut it. Because I want you to be, whoever it is, whether you're the person in the video, you're the person showing the video, watching it. We know a lot of you, I got photos from a lot of you guys watching Christmas and Thanksgiving, people sitting around, Chromecasting or watching the matches, or people that they beat or wrestled in school, watching the family gather around. I mean, my heart was just like, oh my gosh, I can't take this. This is so cool that people are doing this with this series. People are enjoying this series so much that, they're making family time on holidays to watch what we're doing, to watch the stories that we're telling. And the gratification is for somebody to be proud of the story that we've told. The matches speak for themselves, but sometimes people need a little bit of help. Sometimes not everybody's, as talkative, I guess, as I am on camera, and you got to kind of pull information out of them. Come on, man, come on, talk to me, whoever it may be. But when we do a video, whoever it's with, I want to make sure I'm getting the best possible response, the best possible version of that person, so the rest of the world can see what this person has to offer, what Bruce Stepp has to offer, what Branson Smith, what Livingston Merritt, what Damian Level has to offer, whoever it may be, Tony Condy from 92, whoever it may be. We want them because we know their family's going to have that forever. Whenever, after they're long gone, hey, let's watch Granddad, let's watch Uncle, let's watch Dad, let's watch our brother. And the every video in the series is meticulously, now it may not seem like it, but I promise, is meticulously edited, that I want it to be the best version of what you guys are seeing that I can possibly put out. And that's, it's a twofold. Good material, good stories, and quality viewing.
And let me clarify a little bit. You don't have a team.
It's me.
You don't have other people that is editing and spending a lot of time into this. You don't have anybody going out and doing research for you. You don't have anybody that is making a phone call
Right.
and setting it up with this guy at this point and setting it up with another guy at another point. This is all you.
This is 100%.
About how much time do you think you put in on one video? With the exception of the video itself, how much time do you typically put in getting it set up?
We probably look at about each video. Some of them are shorter than others, but we're probably looking at about minimum of 2 hours on editing.
And that's just editing.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the phone calls and the prep work of getting the person there to actually do the video?
The travel time to get to that person.
The travel, been to
Yeah.
Hopkinsville, like I said, 3 times. That's about a 5-hour trip. Now, there have been people that have, made contacts for me. Hey, man, this guy, his phone number, this Facebook, whatever. So I can't just say, I've made all the contacts. But for the majority, I'll reach out to somebody. And like my contact at Hopkinsville is Livingston Merritt. Livingston's helped me out, get guys that I just didn't know how to contact. Connor, Matt Shotwell, Troy Cole, all those guys, Todd Cole. So there have been guys I've made friends with that they have contacts for. But as far as me making the initial contact, it's all, everything has been me finding the videos, have been me editing, filming, doing the bracket research, like the state championship most outstanding video that we've done. That took me about 7 months to work on.
Wow.
Took me about 7 months to get everything because I wanted that to be a quality product. I wanted that to be the crown jewel of the series. Same thing with the team state championship video. That took me probably 4 or 5 months to get that. And I was working on those concurrently when I wasn't doing review videos with guys or traveling or whatever. And you look at it and you look back on the hours, and sometimes it does get a little bit long, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It is worth it because you can't put a price, I can't put a price on the stories that we've been able to tell. These are priceless.
Yeah.
I mean, they just are. You can't put a price on somebody's feelings. Or at least I can't anyway. I can't, say, $10 million, $100 billion, whatever, $100 billion, as Dr. Evil would say. I would not give that up to know the satisfaction that we're telling your stories, other guys we've not met with, and how people feel whenever they watch them. They're able to, that thing about the subconscious mind, there's no time or space. So you're watching these, people feel like they're 18 again, feel like they're 17 again. They remember exactly where they were, what it smelled like in the gym, how hot it was, or what they done after, or whatever, because that's part of our life story. And I take a lot of pride in being able to tell those stories, even if it is a one-man band, a one-man show. For the most part, I mean, it doesn't really feel like a one-man band, one-man show, even though it's me with a dream, basically.
In addition to doing these videos, you have a full-time job,
Yes, I do.
and you're also a referee.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk about wanting the people of the past to be able to tell their story.
Mm-hmm.
As a referee, what do you tell the youth now that are coming up? Are you able to give them any advice, any direction?
I have the 1969 state finals, all 13 or all 12 bouts. And if you watch those guys, I mean, they knew a half, they knew a sit out, they knew 3 or 4, you can watch, a cradle, 3 or 4 moves that are still effective today. Yeah, it's nice to be able to go out and hit the moss-covered spinning 3-handled family Gerdunzel and all these crazy moves. But it's the basic stuff that wins you championships. It's the basic moves that win you matches. If it was effective in 1969, it's still going to be effective. Now, of course, you need to add on to that. Yes, the sport, you have to evolve, but don't get away from the basics and listen to what the guys that come before you have to say. Listen to what, in their videos, let's listen to what they tell you. Maybe they got up an extra hour. Maybe they had, back when, I don't know if Bruce was a gamer, back when you was in school, man, Nintendo, was the Super Nintendo. Maybe you have to give up an extra hour.
I think you need to go back to Atari.
Atari? Okay, let's go back to Atari. Go back to the 1980s arcades, going to the arcades there in Inez. Was there arcades in Inez?
There was an Inez and Warfield, but Nintendo was coming out at
That's
that
what I was
point.
gonna
I had
say.
to go to my cousin's house to play Nintendo.
Maybe give up an extra hour on playing Fortnite or playing, whatever, doing the TikToks, whatever the kids are doing nowadays. But just listen to what they have to say. Listen to what the guys that come before you. There's a great story about if you want to learn how to make ice cream, you go surround yourself with 10 of the best ice cream makers in the world, and you're going to be a great ice cream maker. If you want to be a great wrestler, maybe you can't go to Bruce's house, but guess what? Bruce can come to your house. He can come to your phone. Livingston Merritt can come to your phone. All these other great state champions, Cole Thomas, can come to your house, can come to your phone. Listen to what they have to say. Go ahead. I just had to have a drink. I was dry.
Well, I want to say that we could sit here and talk for hours,
Right.
and I think that what you have laid out is just phenomenal. You have done a fantastic job with these videos. You have brought a lot of insight into people's homes that, frankly, just a lot of people just didn't even realize and didn't even know.
Right.
And as the videos evolve, as you evolve, as things get a little bit more detailed and better, if you can say that, I'm very excited to see what's coming.
Oh, yeah, man.
So I would have to say to anybody out there, if you ever get a phone call or a Facebook request or anything of the nature from Alex Green, count it as an honor. And he would not be reaching out to you if you didn't have something valuable to share with other people. And as you can see from the video, very passionate and very dedicated. The only team member that he has right now is himself. And as you can reflect on the video, he puts a lot of time and effort into it. And Alex, just want you to know.
Thank you, man.
We really appreciate
it. Really do. It's
Thank you.
an honor
Our
to be
pleasure.
on this side. And it was, when you reached out and said this, I was like, oh my, what are we doing here? Because it's, like I said, the tables of, I feel like Mike Wallace being interviewed, on the other side of all these 60-minute, all these years. But man, thank you all for wanting to do this with me. And Bruce, thanks so far for your 2. Like I said, your 93's coming. It's just getting up with Chris Dunn or his brother and getting it and being able to tell that. So that one is in the future. And we'll end it with, we have, as of you guys are seeing a list of the videos that I currently have, state championship years, I've got 30 of the 59 years, a little over 50%. There's 707, as of this filming, there's 770 state championships that have been awarded. I think 165 are on the, I think that's the number, 165 are on the channel so far. And I'm going to do my best to get to 7. Of course, you know, there'll be 14 more added, so we'll be at 784. But I'm going to do my best to get every single one that I can possibly get. So that's all that I have. Is that all that you guys have?
We appreciate you.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
That's all we've got. We'll see you guys on the mats.